Our country, young people are not just the future, they are the present. And Tumelo, I'm blown away about how diplomacy is such a multifaceted discipline. Early on this evening, we spoke about economic diplomacy. We've just handed over the award to sports diplomacy and cultural diplomacy. But there's another kind of diplomacy that we have yet to touch on, which encompasses the above, which is public diplomacy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Public diplomacy is in fact what brought us all together this evening, right? It is a form of diplomacy that utilizes communications through various platforms to influence, to promote, and to establish dialogue between nations and individuals. Now, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, through public diplomacy branch, have set up several platforms to communicate South Africa's foreign policy and, of course, its goals and objectives. But one such platform are these awards, but they also have the Ubuntu magazine, which is available digitally on a digital platform to a global readership and gets distributed, listen to this, in all countries where South Africa actually has diplomatic missions. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there's this.
There's a word in South Africa. Ubuntu, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu Radio. Ubuntu Radio.
A better South Africa, a better Africa, and a better world.
It began in 2013. Launched by the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. Won the Ubuntu Media Award, described as a visionary concept and idea, important tool of DECO's public diplomacy, promoting and communicating South Africa's foreign policy and disseminating information from South Africa across the world. Ubuntu Radio, a product of the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, started as online radio station and spread globally, aims to stimulate dialogue, views and opinions on South Africa's foreign policy, providing accurate and interesting news and views from the continent and beyond, telling African stories from an African perspective, and continues to gain and grow its listenership. Tune in and be part of the conversation. Go to ubuntu-radio.com. We are on TV channel 888 and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Ubuntu Radio ZA.
Radio station at that, an award-winning radio station. So you have the Ubuntu Awards, and then you have Ubuntu Magazine, and then Ubuntu Radio, as you've just seen, which is quite impressive. So, Minister, we await Ubuntu TV. I think logic dictates that there should be a television station that's called Ubuntu. And you already have your two hosts here. Here are the faces. Oh, should we put through a tender document? Should we, Minister? Should we? So it's time for the last award for this evening is the Tambo Lifetime Achievement Award in Diplomacy.
Now, where do I even begin with this one? Before they even play the video, ladies and gentlemen, can I just mention how I've always admired, with ease, which he used to actually articulate South Africa's foreign policy while serving as our country's deputy minister. This year's recipient is Mr. Aziz Pahad.
Aziz Pahad has been a true servant of South Africa for most of his life. After being served with a banning order, he left South Africa in 1966 to serve the ANC full-time in its UK office and was instrumental in mobilizing the international community to impose sanctions on the South African government. He served as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was instrumental in bringing peace to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Burundi, and Angola. For his unwavering commitment to South Africa and his global contributions to making the world a safer, more equitable place, we would like to honor him with the Ubuntu Lifetime Achievement Award. Ted.
There you have it. May I please humbly request Her Excellency Minister Dr. Naledi Pandor to join us on the stage and present the award to Mrs. Pahad. And please, Minister, while you're on stage, please remain standing on stage as Ms. Pahad goes back to her seat.
recording of his speech, but if not, I will deliver his
There is
speech.
one.
Is there what?
Maybe you can send an early Valentine's message.
Absolutely. Well, on behalf of I would like to say better half, but I think we are equal halves. Aziz Pahad, he's truly disappointed that he couldn't be here personally, Minister, to receive the award. He wasn't well and has been in hospital and just came out of hospital, and the doctors advised him not to travel. I think partly because they were aware that if he did travel, Aziz would be the last person to leave this room. So he really and truly is disappointed that he could not be in person to receive this award, but is extraordinarily touched by the honor that has been bestowed upon him. I don't think that he thought that in the years to come, that his contribution to South Africa's foreign policy and to the international world would continue to be respected, recognized, and appreciated. So, Minister, thank you very much on behalf of Aziz. That's all I would say. I do want to say one thing, though, is that if he were here this evening, you would not have had a speech concluded in 2 minutes. Thank you.
President Ramaphosa, Minister Pando, and other ministers present. The DIRCO leadership, Ramaphosa, Minister Pando, and other ministers present. Foreign diplomats based in South Africa, fellow recipients of the Ubuntu Awards for 2022, distinguished guests, thank you for the honor bestowed upon me. I'm really humbled by this award. Many other colleagues remember the challenging days when we worked with the international anti-apartheid movement, one of the most successful solidarity campaigns in history to isolate and boycott apartheid South Africa. This campaign involved millions of people throughout the world. Apartheid resources, apartheid embassies abroad, and apartheid international supporters failed to weaken or destroy the anti-apartheid movements. Since 1994, and of our democracy, South Africa has made impressive strides on the international stage, as evidenced by South Africa's leadership in a range of international and multilateral organs of influence. These were the heydays of South Africa's foreign policy and the promise of a new, better world for our country and continent. However, the world has changed for the worse. Today, the world is facing political, economic, social, cultural, and existential crisis. The relations environment has become more complex and divisive. COVID-19 has accentuated the fault lines of the global community, and we are experiencing vaccine apartheid. Africa continues to be marginalized, and we are experiencing increasing tensions and conflicts on the continent. There is tensions in Europe, including the threat of war. In the Middle East, Israel continues to act with impunity with its apartheid policies against the Palestinian people. That Israel is not committed to a negotiated two-state solution. Israel will continue to act with impunity because the two-state solution is sabotaged by some Arab countries and some Western countries. The South African government must be commended for its consistent support for the just cause of the Palestinian people. We need to better understand the economic, political, and military rise of Russia and China. The reality is that there is much distortion and fake news. Seek the truth to deal with this reality. That at times like these, the human family remains bound together as never before, as communities of faith brought together by our mutual vulnerabilities abiding sense of solidarity, compassion, and independence. These are essential values that have influenced South Africa's foreign policy since 1994, profoundly informed by our global landscape and deep inequality. Today, given the challenges humanity faces, South Africa must continue to engage actively in Africa and the international stage. We must build a united, peaceful, and prosperous Africa and a better world.
Congratulations, Mr. Aziz Pahad, a true ambassador, I have to say, Elgin, when we think about those who represented the country really well.
And very, very, very patient. And Mrs. Pahad, can you please tell him that I said thank you so much for being patient with us as a young journalist. But he absolutely had the patience to teach us about international diplomacy and to make us understand what international relations really mean. And we really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.